Welcome to American Pulse and Paranormal. For the best experience, we recommend wearing headphones to fully immerse yourself in the eerie and captivating story. David was a handsome young man, intelligent yet lonely. His life was monotonous, confined to the walls of the law firm where he worked and his small apartment in the city's outskirts. He didn't have many friends, and his heart had never known true love. So, when he met Layla at a colleague's birthday party, he felt as if he had found a light in a dark tunnel. Layla was enchanting. Her hair was as black as the night, and her deep brown eyes seemed to hold countless secrets. She was quiet, mysterious, yet she drew David to her with an irresistible force. Their conversation stretched for hours. They talked about everything, or rather, he did the talking while she listened attentively, smiling gently, making him feel understood more than he understood himself. At the end of the party, Layla gifted him a delicate silver necklace with a dark red agate pendant that gleamed with a strange light. "A memento of a beautiful night," she said in her soft voice, then vanished into the crowd, leaving the party before David could ask her any questions. David had no idea that this necklace would be the last thing he saw of his normal world. The next day, David felt an inexplicable urge to travel. He booked a flight to Arizona, a state he had never visited before for no apparent reason. He arrived at a small hotel in Scottsdale, a quiet town that seemed strange and somewhat frightening to him. From the moment he entered his room, David felt uneasy. The hotel was old, rustic, but there was something in the air, something heavy and frightening. It wasn't just a feeling of loneliness. It was a feeling of suffocation, as if eyes were watching him from the darkness. On the first night, David woke up in a cold sweat, his heart racing. The nightmares were getting worse. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The once charming and mysterious necklace now felt like a heavy burden around his neck. He decided to take a walk to clear his mind, hoping that the fresh air would help him think straight. As he walked through the quiet streets of Scottsdale, he couldn't help but feel like he was being watched. The shadows seemed to move with him, and the eerie silence was only broken by the occasional rustling of leaves in the wind. David's mind raced with thoughts of Layla and the cursed necklace. What had he gotten himself into? He found himself at a small, deserted park. The swings creaked in the breeze, and the empty benches looked like ghostly figures waiting for someone to sit. David took a seat on one of the benches, trying to make sense of everything. He took out the necklace and examined it closely. The dark red agate seemed to pulse with an inner light, almost as if it was alive. The symbols carved into the silver were unfamiliar and unsettling. As he sat there, lost in thought, a figure appeared at the edge of the park. David's heart skipped a beat when he realized it was Layla. She walked towards him with a slow, deliberate pace, her eyes locked onto his. David felt a mix of fear and longing. He wanted answers, but he was also terrified of what he might discover. "Layla," he called out, his voice trembling. "What is happening to me? What is this necklace?" Layla stopped a few feet away from him, her expression unreadable. "David, you were chosen," she said softly. "The necklace is a gateway, a bridge between our worlds. You have been marked." David's mind raced. Marked for what? Why me? Layla sighed, her gaze softening. "Because you have a unique ability, David. You can see beyond the veil, into the shadows where others cannot. The necklace was meant to awaken that ability, to guide you." "Guide me to what?" David demanded, his frustration growing. "To your true purpose," Layla replied. "You are meant to be a guardian, a protector of the boundary between our world and the world of the jinn. But first, you must face the darkness within yourself." David shook his head, struggling to understand. "I don't want this. I never asked for this." "I know," Layla said gently. "But destiny has a way of finding us whether we seek it or not. You cannot run from what you are, David." David felt a surge of anger and fear. "But the nightmares, the hallucinations, they're driving me insane." Layla took a step closer, her eyes full of compassion. "They are a test. A trial you must endure. The darkness must be faced before you can control it. If you succeed, you will have the power to protect both worlds. But if you fail..." David's breath caught in his throat. "What happens if I fail?" Layla's expression turned grave. "The darkness will consume you, and you will be lost forever. You must find the strength within yourself to overcome it." David looked down at the necklace in his hand, feeling the weight of his fate. The path ahead was uncertain and fraught with danger, but he knew he couldn't turn back now. He had to face whatever lay ahead, for his sake, and the sake of those he cared about. As the night grew darker, David made his way back to the hotel, determined to confront the shadows that haunted him. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but with Layla's guidance and his newfound resolve, he felt a glimmer of hope. Inside his room, he sat on the bed and closed his eyes, focusing on the necklace. The symbols seemed to glow brighter, and a strange sensation washed over him. He felt a connection, a link to something beyond his understanding. He took a deep breath and allowed himself to be drawn into the depths of his subconscious. In the darkness, he found himself standing in the desert once again. The shapes and symbols he had seen before now appeared clearer, more defined. He felt a presence, a force guiding him towards a distant light. As he walked, the shadows seemed to part, revealing a path. David followed the path until he reached a circle of stones, each one inscribed with the same symbols as the necklace. In the center of the circle stood a towering figure, cloaked in darkness. The figure raised its head, revealing glowing eyes that pierced through the shadows. "Welcome, David," the figure said in a voice that echoed in his mind. "You have come to face your destiny." David took a step forward, his heart pounding. "Who are you?" "I am the guardian of the boundary," the figure replied. "I have been waiting for you." David felt a surge of determination. "I won't let the darkness consume me. I will fight." The figure nodded. "Then let the trial begin." David felt a rush of energy as the darkness swirled around him. Testin. David returned to his hotel room, his mind buzzing with the revelation of his destiny. He felt a mix of fear and determination, knowing that his journey was far from over. The weight of the necklace around his neck was now a reminder of the strength he had discovered within himself. As he sat on the edge of his bed, David thought about Layla's words. He needed to understand his purpose as a guardian and protect the boundary between the human world and the realm of the jinn. But he also knew that he couldn't do it alone. He needed to find allies who could help him navigate this new, dangerous path. The next morning, David decided to explore Scottsdale further. He hoped to find clues or signs that could guide him. As he walked through the town, he noticed subtle changes. The air felt heavier and the shadows seemed to stretch longer than usual. It was as if the town itself was a threshold between worlds. David found himself drawn to a small antique shop on a quiet street. The sign above the door read, "Mystic Curiosities," and the windows displayed an array of strange and intriguing artifacts. He felt an inexplicable pull towards the shop and decided to go inside. The interior of the shop was dimly lit, filled with the scent of incense and old books. Shelves lined the walls, filled with trinkets, crystals, and ancient tomes. An elderly woman with silver hair and piercing blue eyes stood behind the counter, her gaze fixed on David as he entered. "Welcome," she said in a soft, melodic voice. "I am Cassandra. How can I assist you today?" David felt a shiver run down his spine. There was something otherworldly about Cassandra, as if she knew more than she let on. I'm looking for answers," he said hesitantly, "about a cursed necklace and the jinn." Cassandra's eyes narrowed slightly and she nodded. "I see. Come, let us sit and talk." She led David to a small table at the back of the shop, where they sat facing each other. "Tell me everything," she urged. David recounted his encounter with Layla, the nightmares, and the revelation of his destiny. He showed Cassandra the necklace and she examined it closely, her expression thoughtful. "This is indeed a powerful artifact," she said finally. "It is both a blessing and a curse. The symbols indicate it was crafted to connect the wearer to the other side, to see and interact with the jinn. But such power comes at a great cost. David nodded, his heart heavy. I need to understand how to control it, how to protect myself and others. Cassandra smiled gently. You have already taken the first steps by facing your inner darkness, but there is more to learn. The path of the Guardian is fraught with challenges, but you are not alone. She reached under the table and produced an old leather-bound book. This grimoire contains knowledge passed down through generations. It will guide you. David accepted the book with reverence. Thank you, Cassandra. I will do my best. You are strong, David, Cassandra said softly. Trust in yourself and remember that you have allies, even in the darkest of times. David left the shop, the grimoire tucked securely under his arm. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that he had the tools and knowledge to continue his journey. He returned to the hotel, eager to delve into the ancient tome and uncover its secrets. As the days passed, David immersed himself in the study of the grimoire. It contained spells, rituals, and detailed descriptions of the jinn and their world. He learned about protective wards, how to summon allies, and how to banish malevolent spirits. The more he read, the more he understood the magnitude of his responsibility. One night, as he was deep in study, a familiar voice called out to him, David. He looked up to see Layla standing at the edge of his vision, her form ethereal and shimmering. Layla, he breathed. Are you really here? She nodded, her eyes filled with warmth. I am always with you, David. You are doing well, but there is still much to learn. The jinn are restless, and their influence is growing. You must be prepared for what is to come. David felt a pang of fear. What do I need to do? Continue your studies, Layla urged. Strengthen your wards and hone your abilities, and seek out others who share your destiny. Together, you will be stronger. David nodded, determination filling his heart. I will, I promise. Layla smiled, her form fading into the shadows. Remember, David, you are never alone. Trust in the light within you. With renewed resolve, David returned to his studies. He practiced the rituals and spells from the grimoire, creating protective wards around his room and summoning benign spirits for guidance. He began to feel more confident in his abilities, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. One evening, as David was preparing for another night of study, there was a knock on his door. He opened it to find a young woman standing there, her expression wary but determined. Are you David? She asked. David nodded. Yes, I am. Who are you? My name is Sarah, she said, her voice trembling slightly. I heard about you from Cassandra. She said you could help me. David stepped aside, motioning for her to enter. Of course. Come in and tell me what's going on. Sarah sat down, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. I've been experiencing strange things. Nightmares, visions, just like you described. Cassandra said I have the potential to be a guardian, like you. David felt a sense of solidarity. You're not alone, Sarah. We can face this together. Over the following weeks, David and Sarah worked together, sharing their knowledge and experiences. They trained in the rituals and spells from the grimoire, creating a powerful bond of trust and friendship. With each passing day, their confidence grew, and they became more adept at protecting themselves and others from the malevolent forces at play. As their abilities strengthened, David and Sarah decided it was time to take action. They had discovered a hidden nexus, a place where the boundaries between the human world and the realm of the jinn were particularly thin. It was a source of great power, but also great danger. If left unchecked, it could allow the jinn to cross over and wreak havoc. With a sense of purpose, they set out to the location, armed with their knowledge and the tools needed to seal the nexus. The journey was fraught with peril, but their determination never wavered. When they arrived at the nexus, they could feel the palpable energy in the air. The ground beneath their feet seemed to pulse with a dark, malevolent force. David and Sarah exchanged a determined glance, ready to face the challenge head-on. They began the ritual, chanting the ancient incantations from the grimoire and creating a circle of protection around the nexus. The air crackled with energy, and the ground trembled as the jinn fought against their efforts. But David and Sarah stood firm, drawing strength from their bond and their shared purpose. As the ritual reached its climax, a blinding light erupted from the nexus and the ground shook violently. The jinn let out a deafening wail as they were banished back to their realm. The light gradually faded, and the ground settled, leaving David and Sarah standing victorious. Breathing heavily, David looked at Sarah with a mix of relief and pride. "We did it," he said, his voice filled with awe. Sarah nodded, a smile spreading across her face. "Yes, we did." Together. With the nexus sealed and the immediate threat neutralized, David and Sarah knew their work was far from over. There would always be new challenges, new threats to face, but they were ready, armed with the knowledge and strength they had gained. As they returned to Scottsdale, David felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had embraced his destiny and found allies who shared his mission. Together, they would protect the boundary between the worlds, ensuring that the darkness never again threatened the light. And so the Guardians continued their watch, ever vigilant, ever ready, for they knew that in the battle between light and dark, it was their duty to stand as the first line of defense, to protect and preserve the balance that kept the worlds in harmony. Thank you for watching this thrilling video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel, American Pulse and Paranormal, for more exciting and mysterious stories. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell to stay updated with our latest uploads. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.